Okay, this is episode 1 of season 2 of the Ask Zofie podcast. It is time for me to extend a ginormous, huge, massive, great big warm welcome to you. Before I even get into anything, I totally feel like it is the first day back at school and I don't know which building I'm supposed to be going to and who my teacher is, metaphorically speaking. You will likely know that this is the first episode I've done of the Ask Zofie podcast since before the summer holidays, and I'm only just over COVID and I was actually pretty unwell, so it's a bit like, whoa, here I am. I remember Abby, who used to do my social media for me, we had a conversation, maybe it was like after she'd been ill or after Christmas or something, and I said, you know that feeling where it's like you've come off the is it the B road, or what, B road, the A road, the sort of the slower road, and you're suddenly in the middle of the M25 and people are driving really fast, they're not messing about, and you've been pootling along. So that's kind of my vibe at the moment. But what's also my vibe is I am so excited to be here. I don't know if you're excited I'm back, but I'm excited I'm back, and I am super pumped to be recording this episode, and also just to be here and to be sharing on what I'm going to share on today. Now, before I get into anything more and even like a little behind the scenes, I am going to do a share from Love Notes. Some of you will know that I can't remember when I did this now, but a little while back, I did change the name to Love Notes versus Love Notes from God, because some of you guys didn't like that term. And I tapped into the main man himself and he said he didn't mind, you wanted it. So I was like, okay. And so my beloved Love Notes from God is now Love Notes. It's easier to say, so that's a bonus. Anyway, I'm going to share a quote, a page from Love Notes from God. I'm going to do my typical check that I'm recording. I am recording. Yeah, let's see what comes up today before I get into the topic that I'm going to share on. Okay, give me a moment to tune in. Okay, here we go. You are so safe with me. You are so safe with my love. I am with you always. That didn't sound right then. I told you it's the first day back to school. Can't even read anymore. My love goes with you all places. Come home to me now. I'm going to read it again, see if I can do a better job this time. You are so safe with me. You are so safe with my love. And I am with you always. My love goes with you all places. Come home to me now. Okay, hopefully that resonated, that landed with you. So today's episode is called How to Manifest Money, in brackets, or anything. And I've been talking about this a bit on Instagram. I haven't really been on social media the last couple of weeks while I was ill, which is really unlike me, but I just wasn't well enough. But the couple of sort of mentions I've done in my stories, I have said that in the last couple of weeks, I've had a renewed focus on manifesting wealth, which I've been at for a while, but like I say, it's a renewed focus, and there's something specific, something in particular that I'm doing that I am uber keen to share with you, which is what this podcast is all about. And of course, as ever, you can apply what I say today to manifesting wealth, money, if that's something that is on the agenda for you right now, or you can apply it, you can use these techniques, what I'm going to share, to whatever you're wanting, you are hoping to manifest. But before I get into that, just a little behind the scenes. I've alluded to this already, and I've been talking about this a bit on social media. The last couple of weeks since I got back from Thailand, I was actually really quite unwell with COVID. I don't think it was just COVID. I think it was a combination of the travel with 2 kids and some stressful things that had happened preceding that, and being tired post-holiday. And I think my immune system wasn't geared up to deal with the COVID in the way that it normally would have done. And anyway, without getting into all the details, and in all honesty, I absolutely love to share, because I love to serve, to help, to inspire, to guide, as you know. And also authenticity is massive for me. Particularly, I've never been a fan of BS, of just saying things that you don't mean, and so on and so forth. But as I'm now in my 45th year of life, because I turned 45 on August 8th, obviously I wasn't podcasting then, and I'm going through this shift that happens. I can't speak to what happens for guys, because most of my clients are women, and I'm obviously a woman. But I know that particularly for women at this stage, this phase in life, we go through what Christiane Northrup, and I did do an episode on this a little while back, I forget when it was, on my musings on menopause. Go check that out if you haven't and you're at the same sort of stage of life as I am. But she called it a breakdown to breakthrough. And suffice to say, the last few months, there have been some things going on that I can't share on, because other people are involved, and I would love to, and I will say as much as I'm able to in pieces, but there's only so much I can say because of the fact that other people are involved. Anyway, I have been through some stuff, some challenges, some, in human terms, in the physical world, some stresses. I can just see Susie coming. I don't know if she's gonna, I feel like she's probably itching to get on the podcast as much as I am, but let's just see. Side note, I did some photographs the other week, and guess who, oh, I can see her now. Guess who, you coming up, Susie? Guess who wants to be involved? Susie. In fact, I did get a few, there she is, she's coming to say hello, she's purring. Sorry, you can't see Susie if you're listening only and not watching this on YouTube, but she's here, she's getting involved. Anyway, if I can get back to what I was saying, if I remember now that Susie's thrown me, it doesn't take much. But the last kind of few months in particular, there have been challenges and things going on. And I feel like, being dramatic as I am, but this is what's in my heart to say, I feel like the version of me who has, or who is emerging the other side, is like version 2.0. And the same me in essence, essentially. And I've said this before, I won't take credit for many things in life, but I do take credit for my kindness and the goodness in my heart. Still that kindness, still that goodness, but with a stronger edge, a little bit, maybe I could say feisty, a little bit more confident and self-assured. And what I realize, what I know, is that I really want to be an advocate, someone who stands up for the people who are like the underdog, or the different ones, or the left behind, or the ones that don't have a big ego, who can get just kind of swallowed up in this world that lends itself, in many respects, it's easier for extroverts and the outspoken ones, and just a different type of personality. And what I realize, of course, is that if I want to be this advocate, this leader for people who are like me, who have had experience of feeling less than and lonely and unloved and left behind, then I need this real strength in me. And it has always been there, but I feel like there's this renewed vigor. And I'm really excited to be feeling well again. I'm not quite 100%, but I'm nearly there, to be feeling more like myself again. And so excited, therefore, to be sharing what I'm sharing on today, because nothing lights me up more than sharing and helping people who are good people to live great lives. I'm not really about helping people people who are maybe not the givers on this planet, and so on and so forth. My people who I'm really here to serve, it's the person who has this kindest heart, who's conscientious, who's hardworking, who's like, when's it going to be my time? And what's really become clear to me is that I want to help you if you are one of those people who you work hard and you try hard and you're really deserving, but you haven't quite got yet what you want in your life. That's my thing, is to help and to support you. Anyway, okay, I'm going to zip it on that. Before I speak to what I'm speaking to today, which is specifically how to manifest money in brackets or anything, because as I said before, you can apply what I'm saying here, what I'm sharing here, to any topic in your life. I do want to say that right now I have one space to work one-to-one with somebody. If you feel like you need a bit more of a leg up, particularly in the sort of area of manifesting, but anything to do with manifesting mindset, really helping you to step into your greatness using those two things, mindset and manifestation, then just be in touch. You can just go to the website relaxmehappy.co.uk and email me from there, or you can DM me. My details are on Instagram, but I do have one space. You can just message me with any questions, or if you want to book, then please do that, because I would love to support you in that way. Okay. In essence, what I'm going to talk about today, encapsulated in one word, is, sorry, I've still got Susie sat on my lap. You can't see her because she's below the level of the camera, but she's keeping me company. It's really sweet. So in one word is embodiment. Now, if you are into this whole manifesting stuff, you've likely heard that word, that term, spoken of and banded about before, but I'm going to go into quite a lot of depth in this episode on embodiment and exactly what is meant when this word is used. Now, I've shared this before, I forget, it's probably on here, but I can't remember, certainly on TikTok, I think, that in order to manifest anything, now the nuts and bolts of manifesting are not complex, okay? It is really simple. That doesn't mean it's easy to live it day in, day out, but it's not complicated. In order to manifest anything, you need these two pieces, these two parts at play. The first is you need to figure out what's the essence of what you want. So for me, the essence of what I'm most keenly focused on at the moment is wealth, is abundance. And the essence of that in its simplistic form is that me with lots of wealth, I feel really, really relaxed and calm. So if you're looking to manifest the love of your life, it's like, well, what would you feel like with that love present in your life? What's the essence of that? Maybe you'd feel deeply cherished or connected. Perhaps you want to manifest a healthy body. What's the essence of being in, embodying, living in that healthy body? Perhaps you just feel really vital. So you want to focus on vitality. So the first part is you figure out the essence of whatever it is you want to manifest, and you must consistently feel the feels of this. Okay, so on a regular basis, daily, feel that feeling of, for me, it would be just deeply calm and relaxed. Because of how law of attraction works, so I've got a crazy rogue hair going on here. Because of how law of attraction works, put simply, law of attraction is like attracts like. When you are an energetic match to what you desire consistently, it must in divine timing be yours. Now, the second part, the second piece of the equation is to not mess it up, not F it up. I don't swear on this podcast, so I'm not going to say the word, but you know what the word is. And actually on that, I'm doing, which I'm also really excited about a masterclass on Tuesday, the 4th of October, 7:30, I think it is. As from last month, every masterclass I do bi-monthly will be free if you're in my membership, but it's £25 to join if you're not a member. But I'm going to be doing a whole masterclass on this because it is so important. So I'm going to be teaching you all the different thought processes. It's mostly a mindset thing, but stuff that we do to mess it up, to block our own manifestation, okay? But in essence, when you have these two things at play in place, it's only a matter of divine timing. This is universal law. One of the things I say all the time in Manifesting Miracles, and the next round is coming up soon, I can't remember the date, but if you are interested, DM me or message me on that as well. But what I say in Manifesting Miracles is, just like gravity, if you've got a set of boobs, as you get older, they're going to be sinking a bit, right? Unless you do something about it. That's the way that gravity works. Every single time you can rely on it. You never like throw something and it starts to go up. It always goes down. You can rely on it. You can rely on law of attraction in exactly the same way. And I've talked about this. I think it was on an Instagram live because I had the inspiration and it was really something that came through powerfully for me. How it can seem like life is unfair because you don't get what you deserve, you get what you expect. And so people that have these big egos, in some ways have an advantage. Ultimately they don't, but in some ways they do. And I was like, I was questioning, like, how can this be fair? How can this be loving? Because I believe that the universe is based on this benevolence and this love and this fairness. And the reason why it's fair is because law of attraction never fails you. You can rely on it. And that is deeply loving because it leads to this sense of safety and certainty. Okay, so 2 things. Be a consistent, energetic match to what you desire and don't mess it up. And if you want more help on that, please come to the masterclass because it's going to be freaking awesome. So some of you will know that I've been studying this manifesting law of attraction stuff for about 20 years, a long time, okay? And I've said this before, because of my personality type, I'm a projector in human design. That means we go deep on stuff. I'm very analytical. I have so many questions, like why? I've been asking. I think I started about the age of 4 and I have not stopped since then. And so I heard it all, seen it all, been through it all, mostly myself, well, not mostly, but a lot of it myself. And one of the biggest traps that we all potentially, if not all of us, fall into when it comes to wanting to shift things, to change things, to manifest anything, is that we often take this stance of, I'll be happy when. Okay, Robert Holden, I think, coined the term destination addiction, which you will recognize when I tell you what it is. Destination addiction is, oh, I'll relax on the weekend. I'll feel better when I finished school. All I want is to find the man or woman of my dreams, and then I'll feel complete. I just want to lose that last half a stone, and then I'll feel good in my body. All I need is a pay rise, so I've got a bit more money. It's this, we're on this hedonic treadmill of destination addiction. I'll be happy when. It really sucks and it is ineffective. Okay, so the trap we fall into is we say, I can't be happy until I have this thing that I want, and we pin our hopes and our happiness on this external thing and this future time. The biggest challenge with this is that it flies in the face of universal law, and universal law states that you have to go first. Okay, it's not I'll be happy when, it's get happy then. So I haven't watched it for a while, but one of my quote unquote guilty pleasures, I don't really believe in that term, but I use it tongue in cheek. One of my guilty pleasures used to be watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It was just something that I'd put on and I could totally zone out. I wouldn't be thinking about work and manifesting and all that sort of stuff that my brain just sometimes goes round and round on. And one of the things I noticed about the Kardashians, obviously in worldly terms, they are, all of them, I guess, really successful and wealthy. But what I noticed was they had this sense of fun before they ever were really successful. And this is a good example of what I'm talking about. Interestingly, I follow someone on Instagram called Manifestation Babe, Catherine Zankina. She teaches on manifestation, no surprise. And she posted yesterday some stories of her like 5-6 years ago. And it was really fascinating for me to see that she had this similar sense of fun pre her success in the physical world. And so this really trips us up, okay? In my personal life at the moment, my financial situation is not where I ultimately desire it to be. But if I keep talking about, focusing on, worrying about, thinking about, quote unquote, not having enough money, the universe can't bring me more because I am not the energetic match to that. If you are single and you really want to meet the guy or woman of your dreams, and your story is there are no good guys, I'm so lonely, life has no option other than to bring you more evidence of what you are talking about. So the biggest challenge potentially is to begin to embody the version of you, to become the version of you who is already living that life that you desire, who already has the thing or the stuff or the situation that you want. Okay, so sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here and Susie's coming back to sit on my lap. Okay, I wasn't sure where I was going to go next because I've got two options, but I know what I'm going to do now. Okay, so with Susie's tale featuring on the podcast, she's just trying to decide what she's going to do. Do you want to sit down, Susie? The joys of home podcasting. So I have a book here that I can't remember when I got this book, but a little while ago, called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I have no idea where I found James Clear, cannot remember. What tends to happen with me when I read a book that is any good is there will be a nugget or 2, 3 maybe that really sticks out to me. And I think this is something that's probably in my zone of genius, where I can just perceive something and go, that is freaking powerful. And the thing that stood out to me from Atomic Habits, which is, I do rate it's a great book, was in it, James Clear, the author, talked about a friend of his who lost a lot of weight. And the key thing, if not really the only thing that she did to achieve success in her weight loss journey, was she asked on repeat the question, what would a thin person do? What would a thin person do? So I guess she'd be out having dinner and she'd open the menu and there'd be a myriad of options. And to guide her, she'd say, what would a thin person do? And by the way, I'm not talking about thin being better than fat or dieting being good or any of that stuff. That's not the point. It's just how she used this question and that it worked for her. Okay, so when I think this is the right time, but I'm not sure. I think it was when I got back from holiday and I realized, you know what? I haven't been fully in my power for a bit. I've been ill. I haven't had enough time or space to really dedicate to my connection to the divine, which I know is the most important thing, because everything that I desire, everything that you desire, everything that anyone desires comes via this connection. Anything that has true depth and value and meaning. So it's like, I've been doing some of the stuff, but it hasn't landed fully. So I had this renewed vigor and fervor, is that a word? It sounds weird now I'm saying it, for my manifesting wealth. It's like, okay, I'm done with this now, beep's getting real. And so the question came to me that I've just shared with you. what would a thin person do? Now, that's not the question that I used, obviously. So I've got my favorite jeans on in the whole world, and they have like a big rip in the back. And as I move, then I'm like, oh no, I think it's ripped more. That sinking feeling, because I don't know where I'm going to get a better pair of jeans. There must be a better pair, because that's my belief in terms of how the universe works. But maybe I need to focus on manifesting that. Anyway, I'm getting off track as usual. But at some point, and I can't actually remember when this happened, the thing that helps me to focus on wealth is imagining 100 million pounds. Like if I think of 1 million or 2 million, 5 million, I get all caught up in the details. I'm not a specific manifester. Some of you might be a specific manifester, and you'll know that you are, because when you think about all the ins and outs of the house that you want or the relationship, it will feel good. When I get into specifics, I start thinking too much and I'm not manifesting, then I'm just future tripping. So I'm a general manifester. So when I think about 100 million pounds, my brain doesn't get all involved in the details, because it feels like this big thing, and it works for me. And so what I decided was, I am going to, like Beyonce, her I can't think what the right term is now, or you're probably going to be shouting at me, but she has this, Sasha Fierce is her oh god, what's the term? No, it's gone. Like this character, for want of a better word, that she steps into before she goes on stage, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on 100 million me. That's how I term it. It could be 100 million pounds me, but that just doesn't roll off the tongue as well for me. So 100 million me. So I've written, I'll show you in my notebook here, some like feelings that this 100 million me feels on the regular, like vibrant, focused, positive, healthy, abundant, resourceful, grounded, lucky, this whole page of feelings, right? And so this is what I have been doing since I got back from holiday. Well, there's essentially two things. Number one is ask this question and really focus on the answer to it and journal on it heaps. What would 100 million me do? How would 100 million me feel about this? How does 100 million me deal with this kind of thing? Okay. And also, I've made sure that there is enough white space, enough time in my diary for me to sleep, for me to rest, for me to meditate, for me to come back into alignment. Because this is what I realized, I think I said this earlier, in the last couple of months, there's not been enough of this. So I can be doing my bit of meditating, a gratitude list, and this will probably happen with some people that are in my membership. Maybe they're listening to the meditations, but they're not doing anything else, and they're not giving themselves the space and the grace to actually allow this stuff to work. So those two things, giving myself enough time and space to rest, to come back into alignment, because I talked about this before. If you're tired, you can't be aligned, and everything that you desire and dream of and wish and hope for comes on the back of you being in alignment. So it's freaking insanity to not focus here, okay? And then I've been using this question on repeat. So say it's like I'm trying to think of how to word this properly, but my current situation financially, I will ask, how does 100 million me feel about this? What would 100 million me do about this? And it doesn't mean me with 100 million pounds. It means that character in me, that stance in me. And for me, having a lot of money is really same as being aligned. It brings up the same feelings of just being sort of invincible and invulnerable and resourced and resourceful and so on and so forth. So when I ask this question, it's akin to asking, how would my soul deal with this? Okay, it's really powerful. If you were able to fully allow the perspective of your soul to flow to and through you at any point in time, it would have this real let me at it attitude. It would, like, if I think about my current situation with my home and so on, from more of a human perspective, it would be things like, oh my God, I've got this home to look after and it needs things doing to it that I can't afford at the moment. And it feels like a responsibility and this, that, and the other. If you ask what 100 million me thinks about it, or my soul, use them interchangeably, it's going to say, right, this is a great starting point, because that's how it sees any point in your life. You could be extremely unwell or in a really toxic relationship, or financially like completely scuppered from a human perspective. Your soul is just like, this is my bouncing off point, this is my catalyst, this is what I've got to work with, and I will make this work for me. That's the mantra that I used when I was getting divorced. You might have heard me say before. Really, really powerful and empowering. So you can use this question relative to anything that you want to manifest. Okay, so say yours is a really healthy you, okay, and at the moment you're not healthy. You start to write out, get really hone in on what is the character of this healthy version of you like. What are the characteristics of that version? What are their boundaries like? How do they deal with feeling unwell? How do they deal with having too much on their plate? How do they deal with people sort of trying to cross their boundaries? How do they feel about your current situation? So you take this perspective of the version of you that you desire to be, who's living the life that you desire to have, and you ask, how would they feel about this? So how would the healthy version of you, how would super healthy you feel about your lack of health now? They would see it as an opportunity. They would start researching. They would rest, whatever it is. So what we're doing is we are flipping the script. The disempowered, very human perspective is to say, well, how could I possibly feel vital when I'm really unwell? How could I begin to do that? But this is what we A, have to do, and B, absolutely can do. Now, of course, when I was really unwell with COVID, wasn't quite the right time to be recording this podcast, for example, but I could still begin to lean into that perspective. This is how you affect and impact change. Essentially, you've got two choices. You either live in a very conditional manner, so you're just beholden to circumstances and events. And at the moment, of course, there is so much talk. The C word has been replaced with the R word. And what I mean by that, if you don't know, is recession. And so a lot of people are pooping their pants and thinking, oh my God, my finances are going to go down the drain and so on and so forth, because they believe that they can only do as well as external circumstances allow. And there is so much fear that underpins this, that you have to then somehow manage with alcohol or the chocolate shopping, whatever it might be. Or you decide to live an unconditional life and you say, life might be 10% circumstances, but it's 90%, whatever it is, what I do about it. The fact that there's a recession or that there's COVID and so on and so forth is irrelevant in terms of my response. I can be in the midst of a pandemic and decide that I'm going to really up level my health game. I can be in the midst of a recession and decide that I'm going to really up level my wealth game. And of course, we all know that there are people who thrive under all conditions, and there are people who fail under the best of conditions too, because it isn't the conditions that are designed or meant to determine your experience of life. It's what happens on the inside. But this is a shift to get your head round. It's not, I'll be happy when, it's get happy then. Okay, so I have been asking this question on repeat. Even like, for example, when there are challenges with my ex-husband, it's like, well, how does 100 million me feel about this? And a lot of the time, what it comes down to is zero beeps given. Just not bothered, just unperturbed. And also thinking about, so my daughter is going back to see the specialist on the 10th, I think it is, 10th or the 11th of October. to discuss what will happen about her scoliosis. On a human level, nothing really freaks me out much more than this. Like those of you with kids will appreciate this. When anything's up with your child, that can really rock you, and it definitely has the potential to do that for me. But it's like, okay, how does 100 million me feel about this? 100 million me feels confident and grounded and settled and sure, and so she brings that to the table in respect of anything and everything. If you want to manifest love into your life, okay, well, how does that in love version of you feel about the recession, for example? Not that bothered, more easy breezy. Your mind will argue with this. That's par for the course. If you are someone who is determined to stick with your mind, probably not going to be listening to this anyway, but you're not going to take this and run with it, because the mind's only going to get you so far. But if you want to transcend and go beyond that and live a life that is miraculous, and as I said at the start, be a good person with a great life, then you want to allow this question to guide you. Make a version of it that works for you relative to anything you want to manifest. Somebody I was talking to on Instagram yesterday wants to manifest something in her business. Okay, so how does a boss businesswoman feel about the recession? She is unperturbed, for example. She has a sense of resolve and empowerment and confidence. She knows that the success of her business is not determined by the economy. And when you begin to embody this version of you, so I'm just checking my notes. When you embody this version of you, when you choose it again and again, how does she feel? How does she respond? What would she do? What are her boundaries like? How does she treat herself? And so on and so forth. Life has no option other to acquiesce and to respond to you. As I said earlier, this is universal law. Something else that I share in Manifesting Miracles is me passing my driving test. So when I passed my driving test like 6 gazillion years ago, I took lessons with someone called BSM, and my dad paid for like a small number, it was something like 10 lessons, and I had literally one other lesson with my stepdad, and that was it. And I was not a competent driver at that point. I hate to say I am now, but I wasn't at that point. When I went to the test center, I knew I have to pass this test. This is not something that's in question, because I can't afford any more lessons and I want to be able to drive a car. So I am passing my test today. And I said some kind of prayer to my late nan. I can't remember the details, but it's like, I'm passing. Anyway, not long after we left the test center, hit a mini roundabout, and then I went the wrong way and I was like, oh, okay. Got back and was like, yeah, I'm not sure how that's gone. And the instructor said to me, I'm pleased to tell you you've passed. I was like, what? On paper, I should not have passed. I got home and I told my family, and they were all aghast, like, how did you pass? You are rubbish. It wasn't to do with my ability at that point. It was because my energy was decided. There was no, like what Abraham Hicks called wobble factor in it, okay? And when you figure out who is the version of you already in receipt of that thing or those things that you desire, and show up again and again and again, it must in divine timing be yours. Now, the other thing I just want to say before I wrap up is that I've alluded to this a couple of times, but in the last couple of months, I haven't quite had the white space or the time to rest and to come back into alignment, which is massive. I have in the last like few days, week, whatever it is, and I noticed that the words and like in love notes and in the meditations were more of a concept. They were more of a cerebral idea. They weren't landing with me in the way that they usually do, because I was missing that white space, that downtime. And so if you're like, I kind of get it, but I don't really feel it, this is probably the missing piece for you. You're not sleeping enough. You're not spending enough time on your own or in nature. You're not spending enough time doing whatever, fills your cup up. We say it so often, it's become cliche, but it is absolutely key. And since I've been back, I've been listening day and night, morning and night, to the Magnetizing Money meditation. That's one of the things I'm using, which is in the members area, if you don't know, to help me to manifest wealth. And I have had dreams where cool stuff related to the, like for example, I was on a yacht, my friend was on a yacht, and these other cool things. It's my subconscious going there, which is a key sign that my energy is shifting. I can also I feel more grounded, and so on and so forth. And so I know energy precedes the physical. It is on the way. I am doing the work, and I'm no different to you, okay? But I could not do this when my environment was not conducive to my alignment. So sometimes there'll be tweaks to make. It's all about energy, right? When we leave a job that's not right for us, or an unhealthy relationship or whatever, or we do something to make ourselves look better, it's not about that physical stuff. It's about the energetic shift that the physical can bring about. People get confused by this. They think that, oh, if I take this action, I'm going to feel better. But it's the feeling better that is where it really comes from. You can take action to do that, that's fine. But don't forget what's really at play is the energetic shift that comes. And so what I want to leave you with is, when you embody, when you consistently embody the version of you who is already living your dream life, and quantum physics tells us that that already exists and we're tuning into it. When you consistently embody this version of you, life must bring to you either that or something even better. It's not a trick. It's not something that the universe decides, oh, we don't have plan A, so we'll give them plan B. It's something that you would like genuinely, legitimately, even more. It must be yours in divine timing. One of the things that you can borrow from me is my knowing. I have seen this happen so many times, and I've been in this situation so many times in my life that I know it. There's not one shred of doubt in my being that this stuff works. The only time it's quote unquote not working is when you are not working it. And this is an amazing thing, because you can always shift that. Okay, so it's about embodiment. It's about asking that question on repeat. What would 100 million me do about this, or whatever your version of that is? I would love to know what you are manifesting at the moment, and the question that you come up with, and how you get on with it. And if you have any questions on the back of it, I am really happy to answer. I can't remember the date that I've set for the next Manifesting Miracles, but I think it's some point in October. If you want to join, let me know. Or if you want to nab that one-to-one spot, also let me know. I really, really hope you found this helpful. If you are happy to share on your social media that you listened, I would so appreciate that. People like me say this all the time, but I can't tell you how much it makes my day when I get a message from you. Like, someone messaged on Instagram and said that a post I made months and months ago, she kept in mind, and it gave her hope, and it helped her manifest something. And you never know that unless the person tells you. And when you're a content creator and you do it for the love of it, you don't necessarily get a lot of feedback, and it means so much. So if you'd be happy to do that, I would super appreciate you. I will be back next week. I am going to pre-record the episode because I'm actually going to be in Spain on the Monday, back late Tuesday, but the episode will go out anyway. Episode 2 of season 2. Phew, hopefully I kind of did okay. I'll probably realize now that I've made some technical error and haven't recorded the whole thing. I feel like it was okay. And yeah, thanks for listening. I will be back next week. In the meantime, sending you loads of love. And please know, I have got your back. If you're one of those people that I describe as a good person who wants a great life, I'm your cheerleader. I see you, I get you, I'm backing you, I am here for you. Lots of love. Until next time.